Stefanski is one of an outstanding coach, all right? But why the hell isn't he putting Shedeur Sanders? We're all waiting to see this Shedeur Sanders be the guy or Gabriel, whatever. Something's missing. Something's missing with this kid. This kid talks. He runs his mouth like I could be a starting quarterback with his arms crossed like this. Get your ass in the front row and study and do all that. If I know, the whole league knows. Quit being an embarrassment that way. You got the talent to be the quarterback. You should be embarrassed.
Michael Irvin just snapped on live TV and it was pure mayhem. Shedeur Sanders is out here getting all the spotlight, and Irvin, oh, he wasn't having it for a second. He came in swinging, calling out Rex Ryan like a storm that just kicked down the locker room door. Forget calm debates. This was chaos with shoulder pads. Irvin didn't just speak, he erupted. Every word was like a sideline punchline wrapped in fire, and fans were eating it up online like it was the Super Bowl of clapbacks. Rex Ryan picked the worst possible day to run his mouth about Sanders. 1 second, he's leaning into the mic with that smug, know-it-all grin, acting like he's breaking down game film for NASA, and the next, boom. Irvin's detonating live on camera, slicing through his expert analysis like it was preseason fluff. It wasn't a debate, it was a public humbling. Irvin basically handed Rex his pride back in pieces, with the internet going completely feral over it.
I'm baffled. If he said anything else, we would jump on it and be all over him like, well, how come you don't have any confidence? That's why you're not playing. So each man, every man that's not on the football field, every man in the National Football League has to believe that he is good enough to play in the National Football League, to even be in the league. So anything else that comes from him, I will be shocked.
You could almost feel Twitter melting down in real time. So what in the world did Rex say to trigger Irvin like that? Buckle up, because this gets spicy. Rex, with that signature coach bark of his, started preaching about respect and humility, saying young players should tone it down, stay quiet, and basically apologize for believing in themselves. Seriously? The man who once bragged louder than a halftime marching band is now talking about being humble? Let's not forget, Rex Ryan built his whole career on volume. This dude didn't whisper. He announced his existence like a foghorn with a headset. He hyped up the Jets like he was auditioning for a reality show, promising Super Bowl parades that never came. Now he's suddenly Mr. Humility? Come on, Rex. You can't rewrite history with a microphone and a frown. And now Rex Ryan's out here clutching his pearls over a kid, miming a watch during a touchdown? Someone please call the irony police, because this is hypocrisy on a Hall of Fame level.
Your thoughts watching Shedeur Sanders during the draft, and how do you see things working out for him this year?
There's a thing called homiletics, teaching and preaching. It means you use one letter to bring the subject, to bring all the subjects. I was both, pissed and then pleased. You know what I'm saying? Because I know how hard he pursued.
Rex, the man who once danced on sidelines and talked like every microphone was his therapist, is suddenly offended by a little swagger? Please. Meanwhile, Shedeur Sanders is out there cool as ice, doing what he does best, making big-time plays and celebrating with the kind of confidence that says, yeah, I'm that guy. He doesn't do those stiff veteran head nods or awkward high fives that look like business meetings. Nah, Shedeur's got flavor. When he scores, he mimes a watch. Slow, smooth, confident, like time itself belongs to him. And suddenly the internet goes off like a stadium full of fire alarms. Half the world calls it pure swagger. The other half acts like he just torched football tradition with one gesture. It's performance art. And people are losing their minds.
Who's number one? The worldwide news right now is 3 is still 3. Why isn't he 2? The world wants to see him get this chance. This reminds me of the Bronny situation. Dylan, you want to be Quincy. He was the one who got that contract. You want to be 3rd. You want Shedeur to go out there and then have a horrible time, and then you come in and have good moments. So you look good. You going out there first, no one's rooting for you. Unless you out this perfect. Everything you do is going to be a target. Oh, man, look, it was okay. He had 3 turnovers. He did this. And eventually, you're going to be getting...
Then comes Rex Ryan, self-proclaimed guardian of respect, stepping into the chat like the fun police. He's out here giving lectures about humility and tradition as if football hasn't evolved since the leather helmet days, and right when you think he's done talking, boom, Michael Irvin enters the frame, and everything flips. When Irvin heard Rex spouting off like that, something deep inside him snapped. This wasn't some polite debate. This was a verbal earthquake. Irvin went full linebacker mode, tearing through Rex's speech like a man who's seen too many young stars crushed under old-school nonsense. His words hit like tackles, fierce, fast, and full of emotion. He wasn't just defending Shedeur Sanders, he was defending a mindset, a movement. You could practically see the fire in his eyes as he laid it out. You're not in those meetings, Rex. You don't know how hard that kid works. Irvin wasn't just talking, he was preaching. And in that moment, every player who ever dared to celebrate their greatness felt that energy surge right through the screen. You don't know if he's grinding after practice. You don't know if he's watching film until midnight, doing all the things you never did. So don't you dare run your mouth about his work ethic just to sound viral. That's basically what Michael Irvin was saying.
This way, I have never seen anyone that has had his kind of success in college put up the kind of numbers that he put up in college and drop to the 5th round. You want to tell me he's not a first rounder? You know, that's a thin line. I absolutely believe he's a first rounder. And here's the thing you heard people say. Oh, well, you know, he doesn't have the strongest arm, and he doesn't run real fast.
Loud, raw, and absolutely locked in. Every word came out like a hit stick. You could feel the frustration boiling over years of watching old school coaches talk about humility like it's a trophy they never won. Rex Ryan tried to clap back, fumbling through his usual respect the game, stay humble, follow tradition speech like a man trying to freestyle in flip-flops while Usher's on stage. It was painful. Every time he tried to make a point, Irvin just leveled him. 10 times louder, 10 times sharper, and dripping with that "I've lived this life" energy. Every hand gesture, every chest slap, every pause, pure mic drop. Irvin was locked in like a preacher in the pulpit, giving Sunday service to the football world. You could see it. He wasn't just defending Shedeur Sanders, he was defending a whole generation. To Irvin, this wasn't about stats or touchdowns, it was about culture. Every time Shedeur flashes that invisible watch, it's not arrogance, it's a message, a watch me, to everyone who still thinks swagger is a crime. He's not playing scared, he's playing free. That's the new wave, and Irvin made sure everyone in that studio felt it. And here's where it gets hilarious. Rex Ryan's entire career was a walking meme. The man was a headline machine. Loud promises, chaotic sidelines, speeches that sounded like movie trailers. He built his brand on hype and theatrics, and now he's lecturing a kid for doing it better? Please! That's like a rock star telling another rock star to stop using pyrotechnics. The irony could light up a whole stadium. Irvin caught that contradiction in real time and went all in. This wasn't just a rebuttal, it was a sermon about evolution.
Just went off on Shedeur Sanders. Check it out. Yesterday, the Browns took on the Lions, and in that game, Joe Flacco threw not one, but 2 interceptions. And now with the Browns being at 1-3, people want to know, will there be a quarterback change? Well, the topic was brought up this morning, and former NFL coach Rex Ryan just went off. Now, everybody's talking about what is going on with Rex Ryan in this clip. Does he know something that we all don't know? Because he says, if I know, then the rest of the league knows. You should be embarrassed. And the next question people are asking is, why is the topic about Shedeur Sanders if dealing?
He was preaching that the game changes and the new generation isn't wrong for shining. They're just unapologetic about it. Every sentence hit harder than a linebacker blitz, echoing through the studio like thunder. Meanwhile, the internet was losing its mind. Fans were clipping every second, reaction videos popped up within minutes, and memes flooded every corner of social media. Half the crowd was cheering like Irvin just scored the game-winning touchdown. The other half looked stunned, clutching their pearls like tradition had been tackled mid-play. And somewhere, Behind the cameras, a poor sound tech was praying their mic didn't explode from the sheer volume of that energy. Michael Irvin couldn't care less about trending hashtags or viral clips. He's not performing for clicks, he's performing for truth, for legacy, for that old school principle that charisma and confidence aren't distractions. They're part of the game's heartbeat. The wild part? Shedeur Sanders doesn't even need to say a word.
Want to see him play to see if he's good or not. That's just the way it is. No one cares about the rest. It's him, then Myles Garrett at this point. When we're talking about jersey sales, he's number one. At this point, if you're Cleveland, why are you still putting yourself under this guillotine? I understand why. You don't want to make yourself look stupid. We wanted him. We think he's it. He is the proven one. And we don't want you to go out there and perform very well. Makes us look stupid.
The kid sitting third string, head down, grinding in silence, and still winning the conversation without lifting a finger. That's power. Irvin's out here doing the heavy lifting, turning what was supposed to be an insult into a masterclass. He flipped Rex's tired criticism into a lesson on swagger, ownership, and how football has evolved. His words landed like highlight reels. Boom, 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 every line sharper than the last. You could feel it through the screen. This wasn't about defending a player, it was about protecting the culture that keeps the game alive. Then Irvin dropped the hammer. He tore apart that outdated idea that humility means hiding your personality. He made it clear, young players, especially quarterbacks, have to believe in themselves if they want to survive in the league.
The National Football League did not collude or conspire against Shedeur Sanders in the NFL. I have said, and I continue to maintain, the people around Shedeur Sanders colluded and conspired to unintentionally sabotage that kid. Nowhere in the league did anyone have him as a top 5 pick, okay? But that's all we kept hearing about leading up to the draft, how this kid was a top 5 pick. So you set him up to fail to begin with.
You don't win by disappearing into the background. You win by showing up with confidence, by making people feel your presence. He said what needed to be said. Football isn't just played, it's performed. And poor Rex Ryan, bless his loud, theatrical soul, he ended up standing on the wrong side of history in real time. He's out here defending a playbook from 1998 while Irvin's preaching the gospel of 2025. Because here's the truth. Personality isn't arrogance, it's artistry. And Shedeur Sanders, he's painting his masterpiece one play at a time. Every touchdown, every celebration, every slow, confident glance is part of a story bigger than stats. It's his mythology in motion. And right there on the sidelines, Irvin's the big brother shouting, "Let that kid shine," making sure the old guard doesn't snuff out the fire that's fueling the next generation. Rex Ryan tries to fight his way back into the conversation, waving his hands like a man trying to put out a fire with a towel. He's desperately clinging to that old school discipline speech. Respect the game, honor tradition, play the right way. But Michael Irvin, oh, he doesn't just brush that off, he torches it. He's running verbal laps around Rex, dropping line after line with the kind of passion and punch that could headline a motivational TED Talk for the entire NFL.
ESPN is at fault. All of them are at fault because of this man right here. A lot of people don't like Shedeur, and Rex Ryan is one of those people, but stating that he's not in the meeting room and there's the pictures. All of these pictures flooded the internet the very same day, proving Rex Ryan.
Every word comes with purpose. Irvin's not yelling to be loud. He's yelling because he cares. He's teaching, defending, and declaring that confidence isn't arrogance. It's a necessity. And the crowd? They're loving it. The internet completely loses its mind. Fans are flooding social media with clips, memes, and quotes. Pull a Michael Irvin suddenly becomes the new slang for defending your swagger. Every post, every GIF, every remix turns Irvin into the people's champion of confidence. Meanwhile, Shedeur Sanders is just somewhere out there doing what he does best, balling out, miming that watch, and smiling while the world debates whether self-belief is a sin. Spoiler, it's not. It's a statement, and Irvin just made that fact louder than a halftime show. Irvin didn't just win the argument, he elevated it. He turned that entire segment into a cultural moment, a lesson, a movement, and a viral explosion all at once. Shedeur didn't even have to lift a finger. Irvin handled it like a big brother with a megaphone and a mission. Every word from Irvin landed sharp, funny, and fearless. The man tore through Rex's outdated playbook with the timing of a comedian and the fire of a linebacker, fueled by pure adrenaline. Sure, discipline matters, respect matters, but as Irvin laid it out, restraint in the face of talent and confidence, that's not leadership. That's fear disguised as tradition. Rex just couldn't keep up. Irvin called it out layer by layer, breaking it down like a demolition expert armed with a mic instead of a wrecking ball. By the end, fans were laughing, reposting, nodding along like they'd just witnessed history unfold in real time. And somewhere deep in that storm of memes, hot takes, and applause, one message stood taller than all the noise.
I mean, he's a high-profile, highly popular kid. And just like with any employer, you're not on recruiting trips, okay? Teams are not recruiting you in the pre-draft process. And I kind of feel like that was part of the issue, that Shedeur wanted to be recruited in the pre-draft process. That's not how
Football isn't just stats and strategies anymore. It's culture, performance, and pure personality. And yes, swagger. Michael Irvin just reminded the whole world that confidence doesn't destroy greatness, it creates it. Young players like Shedeur Sanders aren't disrespecting the game. They're elevating it. They're taking the old rules, polishing them up, and rewriting the code in their own style. By the time the showdown ended, it wasn't just a win for Shedeur, it was a win for expression, for evolution, and for every young player who dares to play with fire instead of fear. Rex Ryan might have started this little war of words, but Irvin, he finished it in spectacular fashion. Every traditionalist, every crusty old skeptic, clutching their nostalgia like a playbook from 1985, had to face the truth. Swagger isn't the enemy, it's the engine. Irvin made confidence sound like oxygen for the modern athlete. Passion, unstoppable, swagger, unapologetic, and Irvin himself, he's the megaphone, the preacher, and the hype man rolled into one unstoppable force of football energy. Now, anytime someone tries to tell Shedeur Sanders to tone it down, there's a new response trending online. Tell it to Irvin, because that's the new gospel. Chill, listen, and maybe learn that football doesn't thrive on quiet conformity. It thrives on fire, on emotion, on players who aren't afraid to be seen and celebrated. Irvin didn't just defend a player, he defended an entire generation of athletes who refused to apologize for being passionate. By the time the camera stopped rolling, the studio went silent.
I'm with the back problem, and I'm very confused. Monday he's not practicing. Obviously, they're off today. We'll find out what happens on Wednesday. But last Sunday, after the game was done, and again, remember, they just played a game, and he's talking to reporters. I don't know, I don't know who exactly he was talking to in the scrum, but I believe Mary Kay's reported the recounting of it, where he makes the reference of how it wasn't his call to be sitting down. It wasn't his call to not be the backup in that Patriots game. And you just have a week where it feels like we got no information. I don't know the status of it. And then he misses Monday's practice. And the whole thing, I don't know what it is, but something just doesn't pass the smell.
That stunned, electric kind of silence that follows a knockout moment. Rex sat there with that look. You know the one. Like he just realized he walked straight into a highlight reel he'll never live down. Fans were already replaying the clip, tagging friends, laughing, and cheering. Shedeur was probably somewhere smirking, knowing he's got a warrior in his corner, and a league slowly waking up to the truth that this new era won't be silenced. What Irvin did wasn't just commentary. It was a performance, a masterclass in passion and purpose. It was a cultural reset live on national television. Rex Ryan may have the experience and the volume, but Irvin has the soul, the truth, and the courage to say what everyone else is thinking. And in this battle of personality, energy, and pure authenticity, Irvin wins every single time. Shedeur doesn't even have to speak. The message is already loud and clear. Swagger isn't disrespect, it's survival. Confidence isn't arrogance, it's power. It's in the DNA of football. Swagger, pride, confidence, and Michael Irvin just fired that message across the internet like a cannonball. Rex Ryan might have tried to school the kid, but in the end, this was never about Rex. It was about Shedeur Sanders.
To what Shedeur said.
I know if you see the quarterback play in the league right now, I know I'm capable of doing better than that. I think playing or not playing, is in my hands. I think based on the situation, it's if things happen, things pan out where I play, then I'll be out there and I'll be ready to play.
So this is a screenshot, that reaction.
About the spirit of football itself, that perfect mix of talent, attitude, and legacy that refuses to apologize for shining. Irvin didn't just defend a player, he defended the soul of the game. And the internet? Oh, it'll never forget this one. Every invisible watch Shedeur mimes now feels heavier. Not with arrogance, but with meaning. Every confident stride, every grin at practice, every touchdown celebration now carries that unspoken message. Irvin's got your back. Let the critics talk all they want. The new era just stamped its arrival in all caps. And let's keep it real. This wasn't just about Rex Ryan being wrong. This was about exposing the absurdity of old-school gatekeeping. Rex spent years in locker rooms yelling promises of Super Bowls that never came, hyping up chaos that fans still meme to this day. And now he's clutching his pearls because a young quarterback wants to celebrate his success with flair? Please! The irony practically wrote its own headline. Irvin shredded that hypocrisy like it was paper in a wind tunnel. Every point Rex threw out got blasted apart, fast, fierce, and fearless. By the time the debate wrapped up, it wasn't about who won anymore. It had evolved into something bigger, a movement. Young players everywhere were watching, nodding, fired up, realizing they didn't need permission to be confident. They could be bold. They could celebrate.
I'm with the back problem, and I'm very confused. Monday, he's not practicing. Obviously, they're off today. We'll find out what happens on Wednesday. But last Sunday, after the game was done, and again, remember, they just played a game, and he's talking to reporters. I don't know, I don't know who exactly he was talking to in the scrum, but I believe Mary Kay's reported the recounting of it, where he makes the reference of how it wasn't his call to be sitting down. It wasn't his call to not be the backup in that Patriots game. And you just have a week where it feels like we got no information. I don't know the status of it. And then he misses Monday's practice. And the whole thing, I don't know what it is, but something just doesn't pass the smell.
They could own their spotlight without apology. Meanwhile, somewhere in his own headspace, Rex Ryan was probably sitting there in stunned silence, replaying that segment like a bad highlight reel, trying to figure out what just happened. Because the truth is, the old rules don't apply anymore. The next generation isn't built to tiptoe around tradition. They're built to thrive, to lead, to bring the show back into the sport. Michael Irvin didn't just win a debate, he dropped a blueprint for the future. He reminded everyone that the game needs fire, flavor, and fearless energy to stay alive. And somewhere out there in Cleveland, Shedeur Sanders is smirking, probably perfecting his next end zone celebration, knowing the world just got a front row seat to a masterclass in confidence, delivered in full Irvin volume. So if you felt that energy, make sure you like, subscribe, and share, because this new wave of football is just getting started. And trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming next. See you on the next one.